Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Rosendo from MLH. Welcome to Global Hack Week Share. So, for all of y'all that have been joining us since yesterday, congratulations, you've made it to day two. This is amazing. I think we're going to have a great workshop today planned for you. For those of y'all that missed me earlier during Joe Nash's during Joe Nash's workshop, I was just in the background hanging out. But today, I will be introducing an amazing speaker by the name of Ashish. He is a GitHub campus expert, and he is extremely excited to be sharing some amazing content about Bootstrap Studio and GitHub pages here on the MLH Twitch. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up on screen, give him a warm welcome, y'all, and make sure you ask as many questions as possible throughout the stream. There, we are going to be stopping for some Q&A every once in a while, so just make sure you got your questions there. If it's going too fast, make sure you mention that in the comment section as well. We'll be monitoring that and making sure that the experience is as lively and awesome as possible for y'all. All right, so without any further ado, here goes the shoot.
Hey everyone, thanks Rosendo for a warm welcome here. And I guess I should introduce myself first. I am Ashish Chawda. I am currently a final year student pursuing Bachelor's of Technology in Computer Science at SSTC Bhilai, India. And I'm also a GitHub campus expert, as you can see here. Oh, sorry, here. And I'm also intern at Trace. So basically, my work is with the full stack web development part. So today with the workshop, we'll be basically building a student portfolio. It will be very short portfolio just to demonstrate how Bootstrap Studio works and how we can deploy it with the GitHub pages. And after that, we'll quickly see the preview that it is live on the website. We will get the shareable link so that we can share it with our friends, and we share it with our faculties also, that they see what we did in the workshop at MLH. So I'll quickly go ahead and share my screen now. I hope my screen should be visible. Yeah. So yeah, before starting with Bootstrap Studio, I think we should get a little refresher about how web works actually. So there are mainly two or three things, which is first is HTML, second is CSS, and third is JavaScript, which we use to create a web page. So currently, whenever you see any web page, for example, Amazon.com or even MLH website, so if you go to the source code of the website, you can see that there are three things only using, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML is the basic language which we use to write markup. So it defines the building blocks of a web page, like what should be there. There should be a heading, there should be an image, there should be a video on the screen. So these are the basic things we write using HTML, and it is the standard now. So the current standard is HTML5 we are using. So yeah, HTML5 provides some semantic HTML tags, so it is also easier for uh, like assistants like Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant to read the websites for somebody who is differentially abled. So, and the basic syntax consists of some elements or tags which we write on the code so that we can add some text in between or add an image or link some web page so that when we click, we are redirected to some other web page. So this is how the syntax looks like for HTML. There will be a tag name, and the content will be in between, and there will be a closing tag. So in between we write the content. In today's workshop, we won't be writing any code because Bootstrap Studio does all that for us in the background. So yeah, I thought we should just get a refresher before we do those things. And second is the CSS, cascading style sheet. So CSS is the styling language. So whenever we, for example, whenever we draw something, we use a pencil or some pen to sketch it, and after that we use colors to fill it. So CSS is the colors for that. So we write the sketch using HTML for the web page, means we add some elements or headings or something, and then we add some colors or styling or some aesthetics to the web page using CSS. So it is basically a styling language, and we use it to style the web page and make it more attractive. So this is how we link the CSS in the and you can see the code for it. This is how we link the CSS to HTML page. And there are basically three ways to link any CSS. One is inline, which we write using HTML only. One is internal, which we write in the same document. And one is external, which we create a separate file for CSS and then link it to HTML. So this is how the syntax looks like. So we'll be doing basic things for CSS in today's workshop. So it is better for us to know that there will be a selector. So selector is basically a thing like we use to select something. So when we say a bench, so we are selecting a bench or a bunch of benches in a classroom or in a hall. So that's why we use a selector. And this is a property. For example, we can maybe try to set a property and property like color. So for example, we want to set the color like white as it is here. So we'll write color and then white here. So this is the basic syntax we use for CSS. And there are basically three elements or three selectors in CSS. First is the element, which is the HTML element. Second is the class. So class is a general selector where we use it to select multiple elements at once. So this is the class. And the third is ID. ID is like a unique identifier to something. For example, whenever we go to some legal office or government office, they ask for us a national ID. So in India we have a Aadhaar card, so it uniquely identifies a person. So that is why we use ID in elements also whenever we try to uniquely identify a element and we want to modify it. And the priority of selectors is the element is at the bottommost level, then comes class and then ID. So ID has the most priority among all the selectors. And the third element is the JavaScript. So it is not Java, don't go by the name here. It is different than Java. So JavaScript is used to write client side scripts in the web pages. So whatever the functionality we see in the web pages, like whenever we click any button or whenever we do something, like whenever we play a video or whenever we try to skip a video or do some functionality thing, so that there is this is where the JavaScript basically used. It is used to add the functionality to any web page. And until then, if there are any questions regarding to the things which I discussed now, so just drop it in the chat. Okay, I guess there are no questions so far. So we'll just quickly move ahead to the Bootstrap Studio now. So I'll quickly show first whatever we are going to build today. So this is that example website. Uh, so here we will have a navigation bar where your name will be written. Here it is my name. And there will be two links which are clickable. So whenever somebody clicks on here, so it just scrolls it down to that particular section. And here we will have the hero section. So this section basically contains the introduction or the landing page of anybody's website. So here I have put my image so that people know how do I look whenever they visit my website. And here will be my name. And for the subtitle I have chose to write GitHub Campus Expert because that is how I'm identifying here myself on the workshop. And this will be the paragraph. So this basically contains the basic description you would like other people to know about yourself. So this paragraph will contain those things. You can maybe write more lines here, but I thought this is simple and concise for my case. And here I have written the education which I'm currently pursuing. So this is my university's name, and this is the course name I am doing right now. And this is the my graduation span from it is basically a 4 years in India. So this is that span, and these are some highlights from my graduation journey so far. So I was selected as GitHub Campus Expert, and I did a major project on gamification of survey forms. and I was also a hack club lead, so I was leading a community there. And this will be the footer. So here I am put three links. One is of my Twitter, second is of GitHub, and third is of LinkedIn. So if anybody clicks on here, they would be able to connect with me. So this is the thing. I hope everybody has installed Bootstrap Studio on their system. If not, somebody from the MLH team will share the link. So just quickly go ahead and install it. Until then, I'll wait for some questions if there are any. And also one thing, I thought that we will also be using GitHub for deploying the website later. So if you don't have GitHub account yet, which is not so common nowadays because every developer has at least a GitHub account. So if you do not have a GitHub account, please go ahead and create it now so that it will save us time later when we are trying to deploy the web page after creating the website. Yes, we will be using Bootstrap Studio as our IDE only today, and we won't be coding anything. That's why we don't need Visual Studio Code. So I'll also quickly go ahead and briefly describe what is Bootstrap Studio. I thought let's wait for a few people to install it first. But this is how it looks like. Currently, you can see it on my screen. This is the menu bar and some options here just for quick access. And here are list of elements which we can use. These are all Bootstrap elements, some in simple HTML elements also, which we can use in our website. And here is the basic overview of our website, like what all elements are there, what is their hierarchy. So here I have created a main element, and inside it there is a section. Then inside it there is a container. So we can see the hierarchy here. So this is the section where we can see the hierarchy, and we will use it to drag and drop some elements for the section only. And let us select an image. So after selecting element, in the right side you can see various options here. One is the appearance. So it defines already that appearance is related to how this thing will look on the screen. So all those properties which we can set about the image, we can set its width, height, and any margin we want to give, any padding we want to give, if any color we want to give. For example, if this was a transparent image, so we might be able to give some colors here. So all those properties are listed here, which we can edit and write any value here. So this is how it makes it easy. We don't need to write any code. We can just select this and increase the width of this image, and it will look on the screen. As you can see, I'm increasing the width. It is increasing on the screen also. I'm not changing anything on the code. And in the second option page, here are some options which are related to the layout of this particular element. So here we can see, like, we can, if this was a container, so let me select a container here. I've selected a container. So for example, I want to add the alignment of the text inside this container. I want to change its color. I want to change its font size, or I want to change the layout of the container from flexbox to something. I want to center all the contents. For example, the image is in the center now. If I change this, so it will also change that. It will move the image to the left side. I can again center it, so it will move it to center. So this is how it works, and these are all the properties which you can set here. Animation is out of scope of today's workshop, but you can also set animations here. So this is the basic overview, and until then, if you have any image of yourself which you want to put on your website, just bring that image and drag and drop it here so that we will be able to select it later. I hope everybody has installed it. Yeah, you can use a personal email for the sign up also. Just the thing is that that personal email should be connected with the GitHub student developer pack, so that you will get the student pack, student version of the Bootstrap Studio. And yeah, let's start today's workshop. So the first thing you need to do is click on new, and in the name you can write maybe your name also. I'm writing my name here. So we are creating a blank design. Click on blank here, write your name, and keep it as default like Bootstrap 5.1, and click on create now. So what it will do, it will create a simple plain HTML page for us, which is editable. So I'll quickly set it to normal screen. So after creating it, the first thing we need to check is first is the HTML at the topmost hierarchy, then inside that it is body. So these are logged so that we can not edit it later, because these things are supposed to be like this only. So the first thing we want to add is the header, like just we saw here. So this first thing is the header. So I'll search here for header. I'll select it, and while clicking on it, I'll drop it inside body. So you can see that I just dragged and dropped it here, and it is showing on the screen. And inside header, I want to add a navigation bar. So search for a nav bar in the left pane, and also drag and drop it down in the header. So you can see we just dragged and dropped, and it is showing directly here. And just in case if you want to see the code of this, so it is shown here in the bottommost pane. So you can see the code also, whatever we change on the screen, it will be reflected here also. And this particular section is for the CSS, which is associated with this particular element which is currently selected. So yeah, I'll click on nav item now, and here in the options, sorry, click on nav, and then go to alignment and select end. So what it will do is we just change the alignment from default one to the end one, so that it looks basically similar to this. So here left side we have the brand name, and on the right side we have the links, which are clickable links. So let's just go ahead and change our brand name. So I'm writing my name here, and what you can do is you can write your name, and we don't need the third item. So just click on the third item, and in this arrow, if you click at this arrow, it will select its parent element. So we need to remove the parent element, and after selecting the parent, you can just click on delete, or just delete on your keyboard. So it will remove that element from the screen, and I'll quickly go ahead and edit the text for this element. So we just saw that our second section is for education section. So particularly this section. So we want to link this section to this link. So that's why I have written education here. And for the second link, I'll be writing contact me, so that people are able to click here and directly contact me if they want to. And I'll then on the left plane, go to navbar and click navbar. After clicking on navbar, click on appearance, and here click under background section, click on add gradient. So if you click on that, you will be able to see that a gradient has been added to this navigation bar, and currently the degree is 180 degree, so we want to change this to 90 degree, so that it is from left to right. And we don't want this black and white color, so I'll just click on this drop here, and after clicking on this, a color panel appears. So from that color panel, I want to select this blue. This looks better for me, and I don't want white this side, so I'll also click on this drop, and I'll select a lighter version of blue, so it looks like this basically. And yeah, this looks pretty familiar to the example website I've already created. So let's just go and change the color of this text also. So click on this name, whichever you have added for yourself. Go to appearance, and in the color panel inside font, expand it. And if you have chosen the same color as I have done, so you can click on white here, so it will be more visible when somebody wants to view it. You can do the same for education and contact me links. I'll just go and select a white color for them so that they are more visible. So this is how it looks. And for the next thing, what we want to do is we want to add a main content. I'll just click on go to body and drop it. So what it will do, it will just drop the main element after header. And inside main, what we want to do is we want to add some sections. So search for section on the left pane, and also drag and drop it inside main. And in the later section, we will also add some content here. So inside section also, we need some containers. So search for containers, select the first option which comes, click and drop it inside section. So this is how the hierarchy looks like right now. First is HTML, then comes the body, then comes the header. I have actually collapsed it, but if you expand, it looks like this. It also shows the navbar component. So I have just collapsed it just to decrease the clutter here. And then comes the main element. So inside main, we have added a section, and then we have added a container. So we'll be adding basically three sections later. So what I'll do is I'll click on section, and I'll press Control D for Windows. And if somebody is on Mac, you can press Command D. So it will, what it will do, it will just duplicate this sections multiple times. So we just need three sections here now. And until now, if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer that. Cool. I don't think there are any questions, but if you have any questions or just any doubts, just drop it in the chat. I would love to answer them. I'll continue with the workshop here. So in the container, what we want to do is it looks like this now. So in the container, we have an image, we have some headings here, and we have a description. So what we want four things to be in total. So first is the image component. So I'll search for image here. So the first option appears as image. I'll quickly go and add it inside container. You can either add it on the screen also, or you can add it on the left pane also. So whenever you do that, the image will be shown. And what you can do is you can just double click on it and add any image. So if you have already imported an image, so it will show here. If you have not imported, so you can just click on this and import the image. So I've added some images here. So this is my image. I'll open it. So it imported just the image I selected. I'll click on it and click on OK. So it will show the image here. And for the image, I don't want to be square. So click on the image and then go to options. So here you can see for the style option, we have this four things. These are some random objects which are drawn here. So this is actually for the image border. So this is now square. If I click on the circle, it will make it round. So this is how I want it to be. So just click on the image, go to options, and in the style, click on round. If you want it to be square, you can just cross it and it will be by default the square one. But I want it to be round, so I keep it like that. And before that, click on the container. We want that the image should be in the column wise manner. Like first there should be image, then there should come the title, which is your name, and there will become a subtitle, which will be a basic one liner info about yourself. and there will be a paragraph which will be a brief description about what you are doing and what is your experience so far, which you want to share with the audience of your website. So we'll click on container now, go to options, and we'll make it a flex box. So what it does that it creates the container as a flex box. So flex box is a property in the CSS which we use to change the display of any object or any element so that we can later make complex layouts with it. So this is why we have selected flex here. And what we want is we want the uh, first go to the lowest the mobile device, so that what it does whenever we click on any option here, so it will apply this particular option in all the devices. So what happens with the CSS, whenever we apply any property, so it is based on the device width and device height. So we want that this particular property should be applied to all devices. That's why we have clicked on the smallest device, which is called access and bootstrap convention. And then we'll apply flex to it, and the direction will be column, so that when we later add anything, so it will show the center, it will show it in center and column wise manner. You can also select the center option for flexbox. It will align its center and sorry, this will justify its center and it will align center. So the thing which we see, it will be always in the center, no matter the screen size. So I am in the desktop now, so it is also in center. I am in the mobile, and it is also showing in the center. And now click on image. So if we go to options, there is an option called responsive. So the word responsive means that whenever we add anything to our web page, we want that it should be adaptive to the screen size. For example, we are now on mobile and this image looks very big. And if we go to any screen size, this image is almost of the same size. So what we want is we want to make it responsive so that it adapts with the screen size. So I'll just click on this option and it will make it responsive no matter the code we have written. It will just apply it and it will change its width up and down so that it adapts to the screen size of whatever device we are using. And after that, what we need is we need a subtitle and a title. So for that, we'll need heading elements. So go ahead on the left pane and search for a heading. Grab that heading, grab that heading, and keep it inside container just after the image. So we'll not change the text now. Let's just grab all the elements, then we'll later change it. So we also want a paragraph for the subtitle. So I'll drop the paragraph just after the heading. So it is showing right here. I want one more paragraph for the description, which we want to add. So I've added 3 paragraphs here. Let's again switch to the normal version so that it looks good on screen. And for the heading, I will write my name for now. And in your case, you can write your name. Actually, I've written a document for it so that it saves my time. I'll just go ahead and copy for from that document, and you can write any subtitle for yourself. For paragraph, I want to write this. So I've added these 3 things here. So let's go ahead and make it little attractive. So the first thing we want to do is we want a font. This simple font, I don't like it. So on the right side under the design section, you can see the fonts. So click on it, right click on it and click on manage fonts. And in my case, I want to add a Montserrat font. I like that font particularly. So I'll select the 500 version, 600 version, and 700 version, just in case if I need it. And I'll click on save. So after clicking on heading here, if you go to appearance And inside the font section, you would be able to see a option called font family. If you expand it, you will be able to see the font you just added. In my case, it is Montserrat. You can add any font you want. For some good fonts are Open Sans or Roboto. Those are some good fonts on the simple kind of websites. So I'll go ahead and change the font family. So it looks better than before. I'll also modify the font family of subtitle and description also. So this looks far better than before. And you can see if I hover over heading, it is just the small content that I have added, and it is same for paragraph also. So what we want is we want to set this heading to expand whole width of the page. So I'll click on it, and here you can see there are attributes. So just like when we were discussing about CSS, we discussed that there are three kinds of selectors. One was the ID, second was the class, and third was directly the element selector. So currently what we want is we want that this particular heading should span the whole width of the page. So there is a utility class in Bootstrap which is called W-100. If I add that to this particular heading, so it will just expand this heading to full width of the page. So as you can see, previously it was like this, just spanning over its content, and now it is spanning over its whole page. So this is the same which we want to do for all paragraphs also. So we will add that same utility class W-100 to the paragraph and to this description paragraph also, so that it spans the whole width of the page. And there is very less space between this image and this heading. So what we want is we want to give some vertical margin also, vertical space also to this page. So what we'll do is we will add a margin top. So to add a margin top, there is also a utility class called empty, and we will write empty4 here. And if I add that class to this particular heading, so you can see there is now more space between the image and the heading, and rest all looks good to me. And now we will try to change the color of this text. So just simple black doesn't look good to me. So I'll click on the heading, go in the right panel, and in the appearance you can see the font size, the font option. So in the font option, expand the color and add any color you want to add. So in my case, I want to add this particular blue, and this also doesn't look good that at the font weight is very small or the stroke is very small. So I want to bold it. So I'll click on bold here for the style option. So it will just bold the text. I'll do the same for the subtitle also. For the subtitle, I want to add a dark grayish color to it. So I have selected gray 700 for this, and I want to add the style of bold also, so that it looks good. So this is how it looks now. And for this, this looks good. This is how normal text should be on the screen. So if we go to a smaller screens, for a case in the mobile, so this is how it will look. And we can also see the images just touching the nav bar, so we don't want that. What we will do, we will click the section just after the main, and in the class attribute, we will add a padding. So for adding padding, there is also a utility class. So we want to add padding at the topmost section. So we will add P, then T. So P stands for padding, T stands for top, and we want to add 4 units here. So if I write PT4, it will add some space here. So yeah, this looks far better than before. At least there is some space and we are able to distinguish between both sections. So we have just completed the first section of our website, which is about ourselves. So whenever somebody visits our website, they should be able to know more about ourselves, like our name, our basic description, what are we doing right now. So those kinds of things. And until then, if there are any questions, and just drop it in the chat. I would love to see if there are any questions or doubts. Poppins is also a good font in my opinion, but I like to use Montserrat. In your case, you can select Poppins if you want to. If the image is very big in the page, what you can do is you can click on the image. I'll also show you. So if you click on the image and go to the appearance section, and you can see that there is four options here: width, height, margin, and padding. So you can modify the width of that image. For example, if I want to change the width of this image to 100 pixels, so if I do that, the image will be a smaller size. So I'll just undo it because this is the ideal size for me. So this is how you can change the size of the image in your screen. Sure. I guess there are no more questions. I'll move ahead to next section now. So the second section was our education section. So here what we'll do is we'll add our university name, our course name, the time of or duration, whatever we are doing this course for, and some highlights of our graduation. So I'll go ahead and in the empty container, I'll collapse it first, the upper container, so that there is less clutter. And in this section, we want to add a heading. So I'll go ahead and search for a heading. I'll drop that heading inside the second section. Oops, did we skip something? Yeah, we want it above container so that it looks like this. And for heading, I'll change it to education. And I don't want that heading should be in the left aligned. So I'll go to options, and in the text options there is a alignment option. So I'll just click on the center align here so that it aligns the heading in the center. And in the container, what we want to do is we want two things. One is the university name, second is the course name, and third is the duration of the graduation we have written. So we will need two headings here. So let us go ahead and add one more heading, but this time we want to add it inside container. So the this education heading was outside the container, and this heading we want it inside the container because we want the section which is of education. So this particular section we want it to be together. So that's why we are adding it inside container, and it will we will be able to add more properties to it later. So yeah, we are adding heading here. We need one more heading, so I'll add that too. So there are two headings, and we will need a span for duration. So span is also a inline element. So inline element means that it will be in line with anything. So for example, we can add any other element beside it. So that is why span is used, and we also use the span for small text which we want to add on the screen. And after text, we want to add some highlights of our graduation. So for that, we want a list. So search for a list and drag and drop the list after span. So we want the list to be inside container. So what you can do is you can drag and drop the list on the container also, so it will move it to the last. So this is how it looks like right now. And for this heading, we want to be heading 4. So click on the heading, go to options, and in the type you can select 4 here. So it is the level 4 heading. And for this heading also, we want it to be level 6 so that it looks like this. And let's just start and adding text here. So this is my university name. I'll add it. This is the course I am doing. So I'll add it here. And for the duration, I started my graduation in 2018, and unfortunately I'm going to graduate this year. So it will be 2022. And the last element, we don't want that. So we'll just click it and we want to delete that. In my case, there are just three highlights only. In your case, if you want to add more things, you can feel free to add that. So the first highlight is I'll add it here. The second highlight and the third highlight. If you have more things to share and any interesting things you want to share here, you can just add it. So what you can do if you want to add any more things, so in the left panel you can see list. Inside that there is a list element. So after clicking on any list element, you can click on Control D or Command D to duplicate it, and just now you can edit the highlight. So for example, I gave a workshop on how to get started with Git and GitHub. So I can add it here as a highlight. So this is what we have done so far. So if there are any doubts or you are stuck somewhere, just let me know in the chat. No, Bootstrap and WordPress are both different things. But currently, what we are doing with the Bootstrap Studio, that you can say it's similar to WordPress. But Bootstrap is a framework, styling framework, we say, which is used to make our development part easy whenever we are building any web pages. So Bootstrap is a framework. You can explore it when you are building any website using React or HTML or CSS. So you can use it there. But Bootstrap Studio we are using so that people who are trying to start with the Bootstrap Studio or just start with the web development, but they don't want to code much. So it is for them. And it just gives a brief intro to web development also, like how web pages work and how the things look like on the screen. There are actually third-party CMS options also, so we can discuss it later maybe after we have deployed it. So I'll be able to explain it much better. So yeah, let's go ahead and complete our last section. So our last section looks like this basically. It is a footer section where we are adding our contact information. And in my case, I have just added this three links, which are clickable links with my Twitter, GitHub, and LinkedIn, so that people are able to connect with me. So let's just go ahead and create it. So in the empty container, first I want that this should be of different color than whole website. So I'll also quickly collapse this section, which is the education one. And in the last section, I'll select the section first, go to appearance, and in the background I'll just click on any dark gray option. So currently the container is empty, that's why it is not showing, but whenever we add any content it will show just fine. So I added a dark background here, which is gray 700, and in the section I want to add a heading which says contact me. So I'll just quickly drag and drop the heading here. I want it above container, so I'll move it. And also I'll quickly change the heading text. So currently the heading is on left aligned and also it is black. So we want to change two things here. One is the alignment of this heading and other is the color. So the first thing, which is color, it can be changed inside appearance. So in the appearance, go to font, and in the color you can change to maybe white. White looks pretty good. It has a great contrast with the dark gray, so it is looking good now. And let's then align it center. So I have center aligned it. So yeah, it is looking good to me. Now let's just go ahead and add the links. So I'll search for a link element, and I'll grab that and drop it inside the container. So I've dropped the link container link here, and what I want is I just want a link to be of a icon type. So I'll search for an icon, and I'll grab that icon and I'll drop it inside link. So as you can see, there is an icon beside links. So the icon we are using it now. So it is created using I tag. I think I should be able to show you those things. Yeah. So in the code section, if you are able to see, this is the particular tag which icon is being dropped as. So we are inside the anchor tag, which is the link, and inside that this is I. So this particular tag is treated as text only. So if we want to change the size of icon, we just want to change the font size, so it will work fine after that. So let's just go ahead and remove the link text. I've removed the link text. I'll click on icon and I'll click on select parent. So what we want is we want to click the link, and I'll click on link and duplicate it 3 times, so that I want Twitter, GitHub and LinkedIn. And I have duplicated the link 3 times now. I'll double click on the icon so that it will show me this dialog box where I can select list of icons. I am searching for icons in font awesome 5. So I'll search for Twitter icon. I like this one. The box one doesn't look good. This one is better. And I'll quickly change other options also. The second one is GitHub. I'll select the GitHub icon, and the third one is of LinkedIn. I select it. So currently all the icons are very small and are not visible clearly. So what I'll do is I'll select all icons at once. So click on first icon and click on command or control and click on other icons also. So we have selected 3 icons selectively at once. If you are facing any difficulty while selecting it on screen, you can do the same here also. So if you click on icon here and press control and then click on other icon, so it will get selected. And what we want now is we want to increase the font size. So go to options after selecting icons and you can see the font size option here. So we want that the font size should be font size 1. It is pretty good and it is very well visible on the screen also. So I'll keep it like that, and these are very close now. So what we want is we want to make it little distance from each other and give some space. So let's just click on the container here, which is this one. So click on the container of the links, which is this one, and go to options. From options, click on flex container as flex and justify content as evenly. So what it does is it just calculates the whole width of the container and then spaces all the elements accordingly, and providing even space from leftmost boundary to the rightmost boundary to the other elements also. So what it has done now, it has given even space here on the left side of Twitter, on the right side of Twitter icon, and on the right side of GitHub icon, and the even space on right side of LinkedIn icon also to the right boundary. So this is what it does. And we also want to change the color of these icons. So I'll also click on these icons first all at once so that we don't want to do it repeatedly. I'll go to appearance, and we don't want to select the background color because this is treated as text only. So we'll be able to change the color by just changing this color property. So I'll click on white now. So as you can see, it just changed the color. So change the color property, not the background color property for these icons. And we want these icons to be clickable. So click on the icon and select parent. What we want is we want to select the link element. If you select the link element and go to options, in the first pan, you can see the URL option. So I'll just quickly go ahead and add my Twitter URL here. I've added my Twitter URL. I'll quickly go ahead, select the link element of GitHub icon and add my GitHub URL. I've added my GitHub URL. Select on the LinkedIn icon and select the parent link element. Go to options and in the URL, paste your LinkedIn URL or whatever social media platform you want to share. Just keep in mind that you don't share our personal contact information if you want it to be safer on this website which you are creating now. So this is the thing we have done so far. We have added our navigation bar, we have added our image, we added about ourselves, our title and subtitle, we added our education information, and we added our contact information. So let's just work on styling this more because this doesn't look that good to me. So let's start with the contact section first. Click on this contact me heading, and in the class names we want that this should be little more spaced. There should be more space top and bottom, so we want to add a padding top and padding bottom. So what I'll do is I'll add the pt4 class. So what it will do, it will add padding top of 4 units, and I'll add a padding bottom of 4 units also. So it just added 4 units of bottom padding, and we want that this icon should have little more bottom space. So I'll select the section, the last section, and in the last section I'll add a padding bottom of 4 so that it creates some space below this icon so that they are more visible on screen and they are easily clickable. And here the education and my university name are quite close, so let's just click on this university heading, and we want to add a margin top. So what it does is it adds a margin of top so that it does not apply those margin element properties to that particular area, and it will just add more space between education and our university heading. So we want to add a margin top, so we will add mt hyphen 4. So it will add a margin top of 4 units here. So it creates a basic distinction between education heading and our actual content so that it is more easily visible. And I think rest all looks good. Let's just see a preview for this. So in the preview, you can click here, click on preview. So what it will do is it will just open the web page on your browser, and you will be able to see the website just you created. There are few things left. We will just go ahead and edit it. First is the education link. So what we want is whenever somebody clicks on this education, we want them to redirect it here. So click on this education heading and add an ID of education. So ID is the unique identifier on any web page. So what we want is we want to uniquely identify this particular heading with the text education. So we will just copy this text education ID and go to this link, and in the options panel in the URL add hash education. So hash stands for ID. So we want that whenever somebody clicks on it, we want to link this to this particular heading on the screen. So if somebody clicks on it, it will scroll down to here. So that's what we have done. And for the second one, contact me, we want to link it to the last section, which is this contact me one. So I'll click on this heading, and I'll also add a ID of contact maybe. So contact looks good to me. I'll go at the top, click on contact me link, and in the options I'll add a hash contact so that it is linked to the particular this heading, and when somebody clicks on the contact me button, it will redirect it to here. Let's just test it. So in the preview, you don't need to refresh this page. Whenever you do any change in the Bootstrap Studio, it just refreshes it on its own. So this is the desktop view we are looking at right now. And if you want to see how it looks on mobile without actually going to mobile, you can right click and there will be an option called inspect. This option might differ based on the browser you are using. In Chrome, it is called inspect. In Firefox also, it is called inspect. I'm not sure about Safari browser, but it will be similar there also. And in the Chrome and Firefox, the UI looks like this. Right side, you can see the actual HTML code which Bootstrap Studio has generated for our website. And if you're not able to see this kind of dimensions here, just click on this option. What it does, it toggles between device toolbar so that we are able to test on all devices. So if you click on it, it will show the list of devices which we can test on. So currently I am looking at iPhone 12 Pro. So on iPhone 12 Pro, my website looks like this, which is quite good according to me. And if I expand this navigation bar and click on contact me, it will scroll the website on its own and it will show me that this is the thing you are looking for in my website. And if I click on it again, it will just collapse it. So yeah, our website is almost complete now. We just need to deploy it and we'll quickly deploy it. Until then, if there are any questions, just let me know in the chat. Yeah, I'll quickly go ahead and show the deployment now. So go to github.com. I hope you have already created a GitHub account. Create a new repository. I'll write the repository name as MLH portfolio and just create the repository. So we have created an empty repository now. And what we want is we want to add the code to this GitHub repository and then we will deploy it. So what I'll do is I'll create a new folder in my desktop. I'll name it Ashish Savda is my name, and I'll export all this code which we have written here to that folder. So what you need to do is click on export, browse to the destination where you want to export the project, click on that folder and select it, and then click on export. So what it will do is it will just export all the code which you wrote here to this folder. You can see that there is indexed and its assets for index.html file and all the assets which are part of this website. And what I want to do it now, I want to uh, add this particular code to the GitHub. So first I'll initialize this with git init. I've initialized the git repository. I'll go ahead and copy the git URL and I'll add a remote. What I'm doing right now, I'm just connecting my local folder to this particular git repository. And if I click on if I add get status, it will show that yeah, these things are need to be added. So I'll add git add dot. It will add all the files. I'll commit it and I'll push it. So I just pushed all my code to this particular repository, and if I refresh this page, we should be able to see it. And now if you go to settings and in the left panel, click on pages. So this is the section where we will deploy this website using GitHub pages. So here in the drop down where none is selected, click on the master branch, uh, keep it as default root and click on save. So if you click on save, it will just take few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes to deploy it. So we'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Until then, if you have any questions or doubts so far, just let me know in the chat. Our site is still being published. It actually takes just few minutes to deploy it, and once it is deployed, this thing will turn green so that we can click on it and see the web page. So as you can see, our site is deployed, and if I click here, we should be able to see the website we just created, and this is a public URL. um, Anybody can see it. I'll just share. So yeah, this was all part of this workshop, and I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to connect with me. I am on Twitter Ashish11 Chawda, and on GitHub Pixon198. So feel free to connect with me there. If there are any questions, just feel free to add it in the comments. Thank you so much for joining today's workshop. And yeah, uh, MLH team has added the link to my demo. So you can just go ahead and see the demo, and you can try it on different mobile screens also. Like if you have a mobile, you can try to open it on mobile. It will be working fine like we designed it. Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Ashish, for joining us. Really, thank you for all your time today. And for all of those folks that have any questions in the chat, feel free to continue to ask your questions in our Discord channel. More than happy to field any issues or questions that you have. So definitely let us know. And yeah, once again, Ashish, thanks so much for all your time. Thank you to GitHub for having you out here, and GitHub Campus Experts program for empowering you to come here and show other hackers how to use some of the tools that you're familiar with. So, yeah, once again, thanks everyone for joining us. There'll be more content on its way, more workshops and more things that you can engage with throughout Global Hack Week Share. So feel free to stick around. Outside of that, looks like we are good to go here. So have a good one, y'all.
Yeah, goodbye. Thanks MLH and GitHub for providing me this opportunity.